Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazza. On today's show, we learn more about the Eco Fair. My guest today is Steve Wilson, the energy guy for the City of Ames. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I always enjoy having you around because there's always something going on in your world.
There is, yes.
And we have a big event planned for the end of this month.
We do. On the 29th, Saturday the 29th, is our annual Eco Fair, where we bring together all of the energy efficiency, sustainability, vendors, professionals under one roof so that the folks from Ames can come down and have their questions answered and see what's new out there to make their lives more sustainable.
And it's also a great event for city departments.
It is. It's interesting because a lot of the city departments work behind the scenes. You know, we're all very grateful that they're there doing what they do, but this is an opportunity for them to come into the spotlight, so to speak, have a booth, tell the public what they do. And the good news is that most of the activities that the departments undertake in the City of Ames really do impact in a positive way the sustainability of Ames. So it works out very well for us.
Well, we have some departments that are directly impacted, our utilities, for example.
Right. Water, electric, resource recovery. We have, oh gosh, with the smart programs, with the EcoSmart umbrella program, we have smart rides, smart trash, smart landfill, or smart watershed, smart energy, smart water. And so truly, if an individual wants information about just about any subject they can think of, how it relates to being green, how it relates to being sustainable, we're really going to have some information for them in the gym on Saturday the 29th. So.
Yeah, there's always so much fun to do. What's so great about this event is it's intergenerational. We get people of all ages coming.
Yeah, we got smart early on and we created a kids corner. We have games for the kids, and of course we feed folks. We know how important it is. We're going to take them away from their families, you know, on a Saturday around lunchtime. Let's feed them. We have pizza coming in this year. We'll have the kids corner where they can play games. If the kids come down, they'll bring mom and dad. And so that's a good way to get folks involved. It is a family event, and it's very relaxed. It's a very fun environment. It's almost like a carnival.
Yeah, you mentioned the time from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Gives people the opportunity to do other events in the city that day, like Stash the Trash.
Right.
We had those people in earlier. We were talking about that great event and how those two really dovetail together. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with food from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah, we've been asked why 10 to 2. And over the years, we've tried to determine whether or not people would come earlier, whether they would stay later. And you know, this is just sort of the heart of the day where people can come and they can congregate, they can get some information, they can have a little lunch, and they still have plenty of their day left over to continue on with some of the activities, especially if it's a nice day they want to be outdoors. But this works well for us. So
you mentioned the city departments. We've got lots of city vendors, well, city booths, not really vendors, but we have vendors that come as well, and they represent the nonprofit sector. They represent those people who sell energy efficient products and services. Talk a little bit in general terms about what somebody might see at the Eco Fair.
Well, we have, for instance, there will be plenty of information about the city's programs. For instance, the smart energy programs for the electric utility. So there'll be plenty there for folks to look at in terms of energy audits and rebate programs. There will be a lighting display, and so folks will be able to determine what's new and exciting and efficient lighting, especially LEDs. Heating and air conditioning folks will be there with efficient air conditioning and heating equipment.
What about geothermal, if you're interested?
There's going to be a specific geothermal booth this year, which is good. A lot of people have questions about geothermal. is it really as efficient as I hear, you know, and that kind of thing. And so we're excited about that. You will also be able to get information on what you might be able to do to carpool or take a bicycle to work. There will be information about what you might do in your attic to reduce the amount of energy that your home consumes. And so there's just a little bit of everything for everyone.
So I'm going to digress a little bit here. When you talked about the lighting booth, one of the questions that we get a lot, and I know you probably get them the most of anybody, is about CFLs, about incandescents, and LEDs. The difference between them, the disposal of them, and where we're going. So what's the lowdown?
The lowdown. Well, the federal government, while not actually outlawing incandescent bulbs, are requiring manufacturers to make incandescents more efficient. It's very difficult to make a standard incandescent bulb more efficient than it is. A 100-watt bulb uses 100 watts and it puts out so much light. So the industry now has sort of left incandescents behind and are focusing on the fluorescents and the LEDs. Compact fluorescents were a viable alternative to save energy over incandescents for a number of years. We've had those. We have a rebate for those through utilities still, but they have mercury in them, and so they have to be handled as if they're hazardous waste. A lot of people want to know, what do I do with my bulb when it burns out? Well, we can take our bulbs to the resource recovery plant during their normal business hours. They'll take it and then they'll make sure it's disposed of properly. So we do have a means by which to get rid of that mercury so it doesn't get into the water table or into the garbage stream. Where the manufacturers seem to be headed and where all the interest is right now is in LEDs. And LED lighting can save about 90% of the energy that you would use on an incandescent bulb. And they're not susceptible to some of the things that impacted fluorescence, like heat and base direction, some things like that. Now, they're more expensive. We all have experienced that probably. If we've looked at all, we know that LEDs can be anywhere maybe from the $10 to $40 range for a single bulb. And that's prohibitive, and a lot of folks don't try LEDs because of that high upfront cost. But at the utility, we have a rebate for LEDs. We pay 30% of that cost, and that helps people make that decision and get into the LEDs. Once folks try LEDs, they like them. They last a long time. Especially if you have a 24/7 light or something that's difficult to get to, maybe at the top of a stairwell, you put an LED in there, you don't have to worry about it for a long, long time, and that's an advantage. So,
and how do you dispose of an LED?
LEDs could go into the garbage. They're very easy. They're not susceptible necessarily to vibrations. You don't have to worry about the heat. In a fluorescent, you couldn't put a fluorescent as an outdoor light because the winters get so cold in Iowa, they stop working when the temperatures get really low. LEDs love outdoors and they love the cold, so you know they work year-round, pretty much regardless of the environment. So you're starting to see now that the industry has a huge focus on LEDs. They're becoming a better quality light. LEDs are unidirectional. They're just pinpoint focus beam lighting. And one of the problems was if you wanted to put an LED in a reading lamp, the light would go straight to the ceiling and you would have nothing down on your book. Well, the manufacturers have determined through different patterns of the LED within the globe or within the bulb envelope and different lensing on the cover that they're able to now disperse the light. And so the problems that we had before about maybe a harsh spot type light has been solved to a great extent. And so these lights now, they're wonderful lights. We have them in our office down at Electric Utility, the administration offices, and we like them a lot.
Now, I know at the Eco Fair you bring the lighting display with you, and I'm sure if people had lighting questions like I just did about the range of lights, they'll be able to get those questions answered.
Yep, you bet. We have a number of examples that we've collected. And I'll put some in and show folks what they are. What about that one? We'll put it in, we'll talk about it. So yeah, I'm a resource for them. I can talk about the different types of lights and answer their questions. And if I can't answer the question, I can typically find someone who can.
That's great. Now when people come to the Eco Fair, they can sign up for door prizes. It's very festive.
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's entertaining, and so if it's a good family outing. But people come in, you know, and they register, and immediately upon registration, their name goes into a drawing. And during the event, during the 4 hours of the event, we will draw for door prizes. And there's a number of door prizes that the city brings. Free passes for golf, you know, some of those kinds of things. But the vendors bring door prizes as well, and so there will be representative door prizes from all of the different industries, whether it's heating and cooling or whether it's some type of an outdoor environment.
A not well-known prize is if you take green transportation to the Eco Fair, you get into a special drawing.
A special drawing, yeah, and you actually get a special button to wear as well.
So if you walk, if you bike, if you take public transportation, or if you drive a hybrid vehicle.
That's right. Yeah, we want to be able to draw attention to green transportation, and that's one way to do it. A special drawing, special recognition in the button for someone that comes down that has taken that into consideration and has found a green way to get to the Eco Fair. So.
Well, it sounds like such an exciting event. Again, we'll remind people 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 29th. The signs are up. Everybody's excited. The booths are full. The booth space has filled out.
It's interesting because this is our 13th year. And the first year we held this event, you know, we had difficulty filling the gym. And we thought, oh my, you know, what's going to happen? This thing's going to die before we even get started. And year by year by year, it's grown and it's grown. And we thought, you know, wouldn't it be nice if someday we got to the point where we had to turn vendors away because there's so many that want to be there? We're there. We filled the gym, and it's sort of a coveted thing among vendors. Can I get into the Eco Fair? Can I come to the Eco Fair? Fortunately, we've been able to say yes up until basically today. So we're full, and I'm sorry if anyone else out there wants to have a spot. Maybe next year.
Yeah, well, we hope that our viewers are attending the Eco Fair. And Steve, thank you for stopping by.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, you want to mark your calendar for 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 29th. That is the Eco Fair, as well as the day of Stash the Trash. And it's also the day of Step Into Storybooks, which you'll find our Ames Public Library staff attending. That night is Peter Mayer, a concert at the Ames City Auditorium, which is a benefit for the Ames Public Library as well. You'll find all that information on our website at cityofames.org. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.